Ahead Watch, day 14. When is the road ahead coming, Capital Games? Oh my goodness. Yes, that's right, Cubs fam. We're making another road ahead video. Now, this is actually a big one though, because I recently read a post on Reddit that reminded me just how much Capital Games has said, alluding to this road ahead coming up. And going over this post gave me the feeling that, you know what? I know that we felt burned. A lot of us felt burned recently, and I think the communication is bad and all this stuff. But CG has alluded to something pretty big for well over 6 months now. Let me show you what I mean. I want to break this down for you guys because I actually think this has potential to be very, very exciting for this game. Maybe I'm too much of an optimist. I know there's going to be people in the comments who are like, Cubs, your optimism is cute. Fine. Let me be optimistic, because at the end of the day, while I'm upset with how CG has handled so many things and I feel like this community deserves so much better, I don't care about being right. I care about this community having a good game and having fun. And if this stuff here that CG has been alluding to over the last 6 months is realized, we could be in pretty good shape. Maybe. So here's to hoping. All you optimists out there, come with me. Now, huge shout out to my man Sig, aka Keith Slater, aka swgh.events.com, who put together this compilation on this Reddit post today. It's like, CG, what are you doing? And he gave a breakdown of every single dev Q&A when they've alluded to this new system that they're working on. I want to highlight all these things here. When you read it all at once, it actually feels pretty exciting to me, and I think this is what the road ahead is building to. Now, again, I've beat a dead horse about how much more communication we need on this, and I feel like they're leaving us in the dust right now. That will be okay. I mean, we're not going to get into that here. I just want the game to improve. That's all I care about. I don't care about being right. I want the game to improve. All right, here we go. So check this out. First thing here, this is all the way clear back in October 2019, where we get the first illusion of this, where Viking says, sadly, no, we're not getting a new raid, was the question. The first in 2019, first part of 2020. That's currently the plan. We're also working on ways to build both solo and guild content more quickly. So that's the first time it was alluded to. And at this point, a raid was still in the works. We know that's not the case now. Then he says, an answer to this question right here. Same Q&A. You'll see more raid, solo, and guild content features outside the tables. First, our focus for the most part of the coming year would be on building dynamic, replayable content. And notice how that's their focus for the most part of the coming year. And so it sounds to me like they were building up to this at this point, and I'm guessing they are very much thick in the weeds of this now. Hopefully about ready to tell us something. Let's skip ahead to November. In November, they said, we're working on a mix of features and systems which could operate efficiently to give players a consistently fresh and challenging experience that leverages the entire unit roster. It's no small undertaking. We're in the early stages, but we believe this is an important feature to bring to the game. And so we learned there that whatever they're working on is about utilizing the entire unit roster. Now, I want to highlight that specific sentence, because to me, that's one of the biggest problems this game has right now. It does not give us many opportunities to leverage our entire roster. And so this is one of their stated goals in the very early stages of this back in October and November of 2019. Let's move on to December 2019. The foundation laid for arcade and mythic raids last year will serve as the bones for upcoming systems. So they were working on arcade/mythic raids. I want to highlight this because this gives us an idea of maybe what direction they're going in. If they were working on arcade raids, mythic raids. Arcade makes me think of settings. You can change things up, not like sandbox, but maybe you can, you've got a bunch of different options of what you can hit. So that makes me think maybe there's going to be something like that with this game mode, whatever they are working on. Our goal for this feature is to provide you with more solo and guild content. We're seeing that a lot. That seems to be a constant theme in all of these posts, that it's going to be both solo and guild content together, and they want it to be something they can roll out more quickly. Pre-production for this feature has started. You can expect something later in 2020. So even then, they kind of set the expectation. I actually forgot about this post. I'm going to admit that this is something later in 2020. And so not early, but later 2020 is what they were promising in December. Let's move on to January, the new year. And then you see the question here. I'm going to focus on what the devs say. We're working on new systems, which could culminate in multiple new game modes. Key goals of that initiative include giving players something challenging to do every day in Galaxy Heroes. I want to focus on that too, because this is another problem that we have, is a lot of the game modes we've got in this game right now are things that only come sometimes. Grand Arena is great when it's here, but it's not here all the time, right? And so this is something that they're going to be focusing on that we can do every single day. Utilizing the entire roster, something we can do every day. There's a lot of wins in here potentially. So this is why, again, I know some people are probably not feeling like being optimistic right now, but these terms do give me hope. These terms do give me hope, and I hope they deliver. It's too early to go into details, he says, but this was something I talked about back in January. They're approaching this from a foundational level rather than trying to slap a new UI on something you've already done, and so we know that it's not just going to be Territory Battles 3.0. All right, here we go. And then they asked about Galactic War, Harder Galactic War, and he says, we think that a Galactic War hard mode would be good, but we think we can do better. Doing better starts with fundamental system changes to the way we target unit difficulty and power scaling. I'm interested in what that means. The way we target unit difficulty and power scaling. What could they be talking about there? Hopefully we know soon, but we are excited about the potential of what we're planning. All right, move on to February. He says, I answered the question, blah, 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 blah. As we move through 2020, we are working actively on systems to aid in the authoring of interesting and new content. These systems takes time to build, but are expected to yield a fresh new content landscape. Using the word new content landscape, to me, feels very big. This feels like something that's going to really rock the foundation of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And then he says, yeah, we think you'll like the results. I don't think I've seen them say something like that very much before, by the way. We think you'll like the results. This was back in February. It's May now. It's been a while. The time frame for this delivery is not something I want to promise. However, there are many factors that go into planning and executing a client update. We will tell you we are in pre-production for this future. And so still pre-production at this point. All right. That's when, I mean, they were working on Galactic Legends, or the interns were working on Galactic Legends. All right. This ties into some of our other answers, but we're working on new game modes in the plural that will make all unit types exciting. And so there you can see unit types. When they say unit types, it makes me think ships will be incorporated in whatever they are doing. Also, I think it's important to know this. One of my biggest fears about what's coming up is I thought, oh my gosh, what if they're just doing vehicles for this? Notice that they're talking about all unit types, your entire roster, something to do every single day. This actually doesn't sound like vehicles to me, based on all this stuff that they've been talking about over the last 7-8 months or so. All right, let's move on. They asked about new PvE content. We are building new PvE game mode in addition to new PvE authoring systems, which will let us produce content more efficiently. So it's not just a new PvE game mode. It's some kind of, we've said this 1,000 times, some kind of system that allows them to produce content more regularly. All right, and then this is an interesting one right here. I actually really think this is worth highlighting, and I want to talk about the question specifically. Will you make an infinite journey mode? Kind of like an endless horde is what I think they're going after here. Kind of like Galaxy Wars, but something that doesn't end, and you keep fighting more and more difficult odds. This is an interesting question. I don't remember this question or this answer. There are aspects of this that we put into the DNA of the new game mode we are building. Okay? So some aspect of endless horde, increasing difficulty, and remember, they've said so many things about replayability and about every day, your whole roster, so that kind of makes sense. We are really hoping for a rich PvE experience that strengthens the Star Wars and the Holotable game feelings. They're going after our feels here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, no Q&A in March, and then April, this was the last Q&A, and they said we've discussed expanding guild involvement, basically. We're actively working on shoring up solo play in the short term, but we've got an eye towards how that expands to group play in the future. All right. So the big question to me about this road ahead is all of this stuff that Keith here put together for us, which, by the way, W in the chat for Keith. If you guys know him, thank him for digging all of this stuff up. I was not able to find all this stuff recently. I was kind of digging this stuff up, thinking about making a video on it. He did it and found a lot more than I was able to find. And so this is really good stuff. So W in the chat for him putting that together. But if you really read all of this together, it gives you a nice picture of what they're putting together. Both solo and guild content, replayable content, utilizing your entire unit roster, multiple new game modes, something to do every day, making all types exciting, new PvE game mode, new PvP authoring or PvE authoring systems, something that doesn't end and you keep fighting more and more difficult odds. All of these things are kind of starting to paint a picture of what Capital Games might be working on. And notice here in all of this, nothing seemed to suggest some kind of PvP. It seems very clear that whatever they're working on is PvE oriented, which I think a lot of you guys will be happy about, and not just guild PvE, but solo PvE, which was emphasized many times. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think about all of this crap down in the comments below. What do you think is going to be in this road ahead? Are you optimistic? I think a lot of us are feeling frustrated about the amount of time that we've waited for this. I thought we would have this road ahead way sooner than this. But if all of this stuff that Keith summarized for us from the Q&As dating back to October, if this is what they are about to reveal to us, whatever they've been working on here, a lot of this terminology is very exciting to me. And I think it might be worth the wait. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it might be worth the wait. Call me a childish optimist. Call me whatever you will. I am very anxious to see what this road ahead is. And I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. This might be the most crucial road ahead in the history of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. CG, you guys are... We've got a softball thrown up to you right now. You got to hit a home run. Actually, it's this fastball. We're throwing you a fastball. But you can hit it. I believe in you, CG. Actually, I really don't. I kind of do. I'm trying to. Help me believe. I'm trying so hard. I want this game to be successful. I want this game to turn around. So hopefully we get a road ahead today, and hopefully it's great. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Like the video if you did enjoy it. And as always, my brothers, don't forget,